Hope you're ready to learn something new in Sage Intelligence. Today we're going to talk about reporting trees and report distribution. So what is a reporting tree? So most of your companies have an organizational chart where departments or business units report to one or more higher business units. So in Sage Intelligence, a reporting unit is the term that's given to each business unit, whether at the lowest level of detail or a summary level. And then a reporting tree contains a group of parent and child reporting units. So I'm going to show you a page directly out of the Sage Intelligence online help document. And this is what they use to define their reporting unit structure. So you can see here's one where we have the parent, the top level, and then, New York is a parent, Chicago is a parent, but they're also child units of this worldwide enterprise unit. And then as you go down, New York sales, New York service, Chicago sales, and then all the way down to the lowest level of detail, which are the departments. And then they show two. So then here's another way that they show that, where maybe all the retail sales departments roll up into sales, and labs roll up into service, studio into service. So you can slice and dice your company any way that you need to when you create reporting trees. So we're not going to spend a lot of time today, going through the process of creating reports, because we've done that in a couple of other Tech Tuesdays that we've done together. So today we're going to concentrate on those two areas, which is creating the reporting trees and then also then creating the distribution. So once you create your Sage Intelligence reports and you create your reporting trees, how do you get that out to your end users? Do you have to print a bunch of stuff to paper and, or print it to PDF and send it? Well, no, Sage Intelligence has a distribution feature built in, and we'll take a look at that in the second half of our Tech Tuesday. So we're going to come in here and we're going to start with a blank sheet. And actually, we have a little technical difficulty, so we're going to close out of here. And we're going to come back here. So what I did was I actually created a sheet. So I have this report folder that's called Report Tree, and I created this income statement by location. So we're going to run this guy out. He'll just take a minute. Okay. So this is what we're looking at. This is what we're going to get to, and I'm going to kind of show you how to get to this end product. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to insert a blank sheet, and I'm going to come over here. You see on my task pane, I'm going to scroll over until I find trees, and I'm going to add a new reporting tree. So I'm going to click Manage. Then I'm going to click Add, and I'm going to give this a name. Now, these are unique names, but they can be whatever you want, and I'm just going to call this ABC. Click OK. And I have just a blank area where I'm going to enter my reporting tree information. Here in Company Filter, I can either filter it on any company that I'm in, or I can filter it for the ABC company. So I'm just going to do any, and then I give it a name. Now this is a name that I'm giving it, so I'm going to call this Consolidated, because this is the top level of my tree. And then I put in my account filter rule. So when you think about when you set up your account structure, you have your segments. And so what we're going to be entering are the different segments that meet our rules and create those different levels of reporting units. So this level, I'm going to say is, and you use question marks for wild cards. So if I get it right, I see the list of all accounts that meet this account filter rule, which in effect is everything, because I have a 3-digit main account, and then I have department and location segments. So we're going to add just a few of these so you kind of get a feel for how it works. Again, company filter, I'm going to do any. And then this time I'm going to say, okay, this is my executive office. And the filter rule for that is my main accounts. I want all main accounts. And then 00 for my department, and question mark for my location. And again, you see, so now instead of having 0001, etc., I have only zeros showing up in my reporting tree unit preview. So let's add a couple more. And we'll say this is Executive Office International. And what's the account filter rule for that? Well, I want all the accounts, and it's going to be 00, and then now I'm going to fill in my third segment, which is going to be 00. And we'll do one more. And that one is now let's say I have another department. So let's say I'm going to do the corporate office. So that is main account, but instead of being 00 for the department, this one is 01. So you can see how easy it is to come in and set up your reporting tree. And if I want to, I'll go back here and get rid of that. So now this one's going to have a location. And then last but not least, okay, so now again, down below, each time you enter something above, you see the accounts that meet your account filter rule. Now, once you've got all of your accounts, all of your segments, all of your reporting units entered up above, there's one really important thing that you need to do, which is over here in this area of the pane. So this is what they just call this the left pane, right pane, left pane. And you want to actually create that structure over here so that you have, consolidated, then executive office, what reports to executive office, corporate office, what reports to corporate office. So what we're going to do is we're going to drag these guys up. And so executive reports to consolidated, but executive office international sales reports to the executive office. And if you need to, see if you left click on this line, you see you get a splitter, and you can make that bigger so that you don't lose what's over here on the left. Executive Office East Sales reports to Executive Office, and then I start all over. So Corporate Office goes up to Consolidated, Corporate Office International Sales, Corporate Office East Sales. So this is kind of an example of how you would actually create your reporting tree. And you see, these are just like any other where you can expand and contract the tree to see your different units. And you can have as many of these as you want. You are not limited to one reporting tree for a particular company. And if you have the same setup in multiple companies, then you could use the same tree for multiple companies, and that's why we would use this any in our company filter versus the actual company code. So I'm going to, then once you're finished, you click Apply, and you click OK, and we get out. Now we'll come in here, and I will show you, I set up a tree beforehand, so we'll take a look at it, and I'll show you all the different levels. It looks basically the same. If I need to come back in, again, if you needed to add units or change units around, you could come back in and edit your reporting tree. And you can see this one has a little bit more detail. So you have the consolidated, which is all accounts. Executive Office has the middle segment, 00, and then each of the departments under Executive Office have different last two segments. So it's all 00, then we get 00, 01, 02, 03, 04. So that's, it's all based upon how you set up your account segments in your general ledger when you're setting up the general ledger module in Sage. And then you can see over here I did exactly the same thing. I have consolidated, and then I have the two higher level units, and then the detail, the lowest level, the child units are down here as well. So this lowest level again are what they call child units, and then as you work your way up, you get parent units, which are also child units of the consolidated. So I hope that makes it clear for you. So we're going to click OK, and I'm going to show you how we would use those. So again, as we've talked about before, I like to use the main accounts whenever I can, and reporting trees lets me do that. So we're going to drag this guy over. So again, this is all of my main accounts, and we're going to look at an income statement. So we're going to get rid of our balance sheet accounts. And then I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to go to my Formulas tab. I am going to look at actual year to date. And I'm going to cheat just a little bit, and I'm going to copy all this information over, because you don't want to watch me type that in. Okay, so now when I edit my function for actual year to date, I have something new that we haven't looked at in the past, which is my reporting tree unit path. So I am going to, again, my general ledger link is always my account number. And again, if I hit the F4 key, that's always, sorry about that, that's always going to be in column A. If I go to year, it's my fiscal year, my period, fiscal period, my company, and again, I'm just hitting the F4 key for my absolute reference, I don't have an account category, but I do have a report tree unit path. So I am going to actually put that right here, and then I'm going to go back and I'm going to show you how to drag that in. So we're going to get that. And that one I am going to change, and I'm going to say it's always going to be on row 8, because ultimately I want this particular report to be for the entire executive office level. So I'm going to have the summary level executive office, and then I'm going to have each of those departments out to the side. So when I do this formula and I copy it, I want to be able to not have to go in here and edit this function. I want it to know as much information as it can without my intervening. So we're going to click OK. Now, how do I get to that path? I'm going to come over here to Trees. I'm going to expand my ABC tree, and then again, expand Consolidated, expand Executive Office. So my first level in my example is the Executive Office. The total is going to be here. And then maybe I'm going to put international sales here. And again, I do this for those of you that have taken or seen me work before. I always like to have a blank column in between. East sales, West sales, Central warehouse, and corporate office. Okay, and so if I was to copy this formula all the way down, then I could also copy this across, and I would have the values for each of those segments. Okay? So, and then you could see I wouldn't have to do any kind of Excel formulas to sum, because the sum of these three should be this number right here. Because as long as I've set up my reporting tree correctly, then all that math works behind the scenes, and I'm not spending a lot of time in Excel like I would be if I did a manual spreadsheet. Sage Intelligence takes care of all that for me. So let's take a look at the final product, just so you can see. Again, I always like to have a parameter sheet where I pull this information from. So if right now, if I wanted to go look at a different fiscal year, a different fiscal period, and I had several sheets out here, I could go to that one sheet and change. Maybe I want to look at April, or maybe I want to look at 2016 instead of 2020. Then I change that on my parameter sheet, and again, it flows through to all of the worksheets that I've set up in my Sage Intelligence template. Now, I have also added a few formulas in here so that I can get these column headings. So you can see this column heading is really just a formula back to W4, and if you look at this formula, what I've done is I've stripped away the tree at each of those carrots until I get to Executive Office, and then I change that to proper case. So that's just a little trick. That'll be your bonus round that we're having in the middle of our Tech Tuesday today. And then again, I have my company name. It's an income statement, and then again, this is all a formula. I say for the V3 5 months ended X3 May, May 31, and then 2020. So again, all of this stuff is formulas, so you're not having to go in. If you add, 20, 30 sheets out here, you're not going into 20, 30 sheets and making those changes. And then what I would do is I would hide this row, and then you have your clean income statement showing the total for your executive office and then each of the departments that make up that executive office unit. Now, I've got my column G in here, which is the one we've talked about before, if I wanted to go in and hide the 0 rows. So right here in vacation pay, down here in some of these, if I wanted to hide the 0 rows, then I've already got this column in here in order that I can use that add-in that we've talked about before and hide those 0 rows. So that's how you use reporting trees. That's how you set up reporting trees, how you use them in your reports. So let's talk about what we do when we want to get those reports out to folks. So there's a couple of different ways that you can distribute reports, and that's all handled here on the BI Tools tab. So if you have Sage Intelligence set up, whether or not you have the report designer, you get the BI Tools tab. So, and I will say, I was supposed to say this at the beginning, we are using the report designer, so we have the report designer add-in, so that is an additional module that you purchase, but that's company-wide. You only purchase that once. You don't have to purchase it for each individual, but you do purchase separate report manager licenses. You get one with the software, and then you can purchase additional licenses of the report manager. So probably because the company that created Sage Intelligence is a European country, they go from right to left instead of from left to right. So you can see here distribution. This is where we're going to be. So the first one we'll take a look at, but there's not really anything to do. This is where if you're going to send your reports via email, you would say, I'm going to use my Outlook profile, or you could actually code this information in. Now this was already filled in for me. It's not anything that I did because I'm going to just use my Outlook profile. And again, you don't really need to come in here unless you want to use another SMTP profile or Exchange server. The next tab is Manage Instructions, and that's where you set up instructions for each unique distribution method, and you only set up once per instruction. Okay, we're going to come back to that. Select Instructions is where you select which instructions you're going to use for each of your reports, and most importantly is when you set up these instructions, you want to make sure that you save your template or you lose your instructions. Okay, so we'll come back to that. And then Send Now, you can actually click that button and that will process all of your instructions. So we're going to come in to Manage Instructions, and I've got a couple set up, and we'll take a look at them. One is Executive Office. So if I was creating a new instruction, I would click Add, and again, just like we did with the reporting tree, I'd give that distribution instruction a name. I'd click OK, and it would open a blank canvas for me. So we're going to edit this guy. And I'm going to show you so we can concentrate more on the features than just the rote, doing it. So this you can use your address books. So if you have address books, you can click to and you can select the names from your address book. You can give it a subject, and then you give it a body, write what message do you want to show. Now you will see there's several references. So if you look at this FX, that says cell reference. And so what I've done is I've said each each time I generate these reports, they're going to come from Executive Office. Here's my sheet, W3. So I'm going to move this out of the way. W3 says May. U2 says 2020. So Executive Office reports May 2020. Here are the Executive Office reports for May 2020. And then I'm going to come down and I'm going to find what the net income is. Now, if I want to see what that looks like, you see this button, Preview Cell Preferences. I'm going to click this button. So instead of having those references, I see what it's going to look like. So Executive Office reports, the net income for your department is negative 317,654.12. Please review and let me know if you have any questions. Now this is all your information. However you want to do that, you can. You have some options for font and size. So if you don't like that font or size, you can change that. You give it a file name, and you give it a format. Your formats are Excel, so the newer version of Excel, the older version of Excel, MHTML, which would be an HTML file, and then a PDF. So we're going to stick with the Excel. If your end user does not have Sage Intelligence installed, you have to convert each worksheet to static values. Or when they get it, they'll get that, hashtag name, question mark, instead of the actual numbers. So we're going to click OK. Now I'm going to show you an instruction for File Publish, because sometimes you don't, if you need copies of the emails that get sent out, then you want to actually do a file publish. So I have an example of that. So instead of being on the email tab, we're going to be on the file publish tab. I enable file publish. I browse to a folder. I give it a name, a format, and again, if your end users aren't going to have Sage Intelligence, you want to convert each worksheet to static values. Okay. So now, once I have my instructions set up, I can select them. So the first one we're going to do is we're going to do the one that we had set up for email. So I would select this instruction, and then I would select the sheet I want to send. You can send as many or as few sheets as you want. So maybe you have a sheet that goes to the department managers, then maybe you that goes to the vice president over that area, then maybe you have one for the department managers, and then maybe you have one for your executives. Somebody gets all of them. So you can click on those sheets, and again, I don't want to send them, home or instructions or this blank sheet. I just want to send them this one sheet. So I'm going to click OK. And now, if I do send now, the reason that I left my email up was so that you could see this come through that I'm receiving an email. So while we're waiting on that, let's do the file publish. I'm going to do select instructions, and instead of this one, which actually emailed, I'm going to pick file publish. I want to send the executive office. I'm going to click OK. And now when I do send now, it's sending that to that file publish folder on my desktop. So if I minimize all of this, and I come out here to the file publish, you can see here is my here's my file that I have published to that folder. And you can do that as many times as you like because, as I said before, the emails that you send out do not get saved in your sent folder. And I know we have some folks that need that as documentation. Maybe your auditors require that you have copies of, the sent emails, and so you could use the file publish option, and then in place of the email option, and then you would be able to, to attach those files to an email and send them out. But you still, you can set up all of your instructions and click Send Now once. I was just using it with one sheet, but if you can imagine, if you have, 20, 30 different departments, being able to set all of those instructions up once and then send them via an email, how much of a time saver that would be for you every month. So that's what we have today. Sue, do we have any questions?
We don't have any questions at this time, but if you guys have anything that you want to talk about with Suzanne offline about these reports, please feel free to give her a call. Excellent presentation again. Like I said, Suzanne has worked quite extensively with the Sage Intelligence reporting function and has gotten very, very good at it. We can do multi-company consolidated and much, much more. So if you have any problems, questions, or want to inquire on how to get trained in it, please give us a call. And otherwise, that's all we have for you today. If you have any suggestions on future courses, Tech Tuesdays, please let us know. We are always looking for good subject matter. We're coming up to year end, so we might be doing a year-end one here pretty soon. But otherwise, you guys have a great and wonderful day. Take advantage of this good weather while we have it. Thank you so much for spending time with us, and that's it for now. Thanks, and bye-bye.